Welcome to the Mother Daughter-ish podcast. It's your mama's favorite podcast.
And the podcast your daughter always wanted.
This is Miss Dawn.
And Angelique.
From the 713. Houston, y'all. Get connected and stay connected weekly as new shows debut on Sunday, Wednesday, and please check out our Saturday Out and About showcases.
Enjoy the show. Please subscribe, like, share, comment, and tell every woman on the planet that you know about our show.
Here's our show for today. Happy April 3rd. We are so excited. I'm really excited about this month because we've got our series. Here we go with another series. Did one in December, did one in January, and our series for April is going to be Warnings for Women. When you hear warnings for women, what you think about?
Things that we need to be aware of.
Yeah, not only things that you need to be aware of, but I think because of the topics that we're going to be talking about, I just find them to be, I don't know why I find them to be just super interesting because they come from movies. You know me, I'm kind of weird when I watch movies. If I can't learn something from a show, a movie, a series, it's like I can't focus on it and I can't really, learn anything from it. But I'm really excited with this rollout that I've noticed over the last year that Netflix has, where they're really catering to the women. They know what we want to watch. They know what we will watch. Now, I will say they've gone a little bit far with some of the movies kind of feeling a little Lifetime and Hallmarkish. Have you noticed that?
A little bit, actually.
Yeah, because I've been seeing a few, like I turned on something the other night and I was like, oh no, this is right off a Lifetime. This is a Lifetime movie. I just turned it off because I was like, sometimes those movies, they just really go too far. But again, our series for April is Warning for Women. We are going to start with our first movie that we've seen in 2022 from Netflix. And we're going to start with Bad Vegan. Now, these are in no order of when they came out on Netflix. This is just the order that we're going to go in for our April 2022 series. So we're going to start with Bad Vegan. And the person that we're going to be talking about is going to be Sarma. Her name is Sarma. Last name, I don't really know how to pronounce it. It's like Minglong. So we'll put her picture up here and then I'm going to go right into the warnings. First, I want to hear from you, Angie, though, because I know this was not your cup of tea. And I want you to talk about, what you saw and just why it wasn't your cup of tea. And then I'll get into what I actually saw. So let's put her picture up. And we went right to her Instagram page and just kind of looked at what type of activities and things like that she had going on and just how she's getting along because, I mean, honestly, she's the person that this whole series was about. And I think they only did 3 series. When I called you and told you to go and watch it and you turned it on, tell me what your feelings were from there.
I already had a feeling that she got scammed by somebody she was in love with, but I tried to watch it about 4 times and I just couldn't get into it. I don't think I could even get past the second episode. It just wasn't really, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's only 3 short little episodes, but I think each episode is like probably like an hour to an hour and a half, or could be even 2 hours. I mean, I was so into it. And I think the only reason why I really got into it is because, I'm just finishing, for this year, I've watched The Tender Swindler and those women on there. It just was amazing, the things that they fell for. And then I watched Inventing Anna and it was so funny because all of these topics that we're going to talk about this month, they all had a theme. They all had in my mind was like, these are things that women should know so that they don't get caught up in, those type of situations. So since you did get to see episode 1, what was it that turned you off, or what was it that you liked, or you just simply did not?
I just simply could not get into it. I got that who I guess was sold the restaurant for $2 million or close to $2 million in debt. She fell in love with that. Was he a restaurant owner? What's his name? Matthew? What's his name? Something like that. But I've watched the same episode probably 3, 4 times. It just didn't catch my attention. Nothing was happening fast enough for me. I know they had to explain it, but it's just
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Maybe it wasn't fast enough for you because I can be like that sometimes too. And then there are times where I'm just like, let me get the slow burn because at some point this is going to really get interesting. And I'm kind of like that when I watch my what you call them, those shows that I like to watch that you hate. The ones that are like from like 1500, 1800s, those
oh
kings.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You have to really let that be a slow burn because there's nothing exciting and fast that's gonna happen on there because I think what they try to do is a really good job of explaining here's how we got here.
Hmm.
And that's really how you had to take Bad Vegan is they basically were saying here's how we got here to doing this story about this regular old vegan restaurant owner that lives in New York who's a real person. This is not a made up fictitious story. This is actually somebody that you can go to Instagram and you can follow her page if you want to. Because that's the first thing I did is after I figured out how to spell her last name, because it was different. Um, I went to Instagram and I saw she, had been talking about it and doing speaking engagements and just really and I thought to myself, well, what a way to take lemons and make lemonade out of it. She's taking this and even though she's not happy about the story and she's saying it wasn't told right and all that, she's still, taking it as okay, well, if I can't make money, with my own restaurant, which I feel like she should actually have her own restaurant again. And I feel like she should just have people who are over the financial part of it, because obviously it was really a great restaurant and idea. She had a lot of celebrities that came and believed in her and paid, very expensive prices to be a
Yeah.
part of it. So, all right, I'm going to go into the warnings and I'm just going to talk about them without giving away too much of the three episodes, but just things that I picked up on. I mean, things I picked up on to the point that I sat down and literally wrote them down because I thought somebody needs to know this. You ready?
Yeah.
And that happens to be a really, really good picture of her. She really was a great looking lady before she got involved with that last guy that pretty much swindled her. She really was a really good looking lady. I'd love to hear more of her story. Um, I believe her 50%. And that's a terrible percent.
50.
Yeah, the reason I believe her 50% is because if you're smart enough to do all the things that she was able to do to be successful, you were smart enough to realize that after all of these, and here's how I'm going to prove this in a few minutes, because I have 12 reasons that she should have known better. Just
Hmm.
as a human, not even as a woman, not as an adult, not as a entrepreneur. I'm talking about just as a human. She should have known better. And then also the way they ended that third episode, it really made it seem like she was a part of the whole crap at some point, that this was a game for them. And I guess when you have a whole lot of money, you kind of play Monopoly with it. And so if you lose a
What
few
type of
million,
game was they trying to get money from certain people or?
well, they got money from a lot of investors because like when you open up a restaurant, you have the idea, you have the way, the feng shui of how you want to do it, you have the location, you have everything you want, but it takes so much money to do the startup, because if you've got 40 employees, that means you got to have 40 salaries for at least 3 or 4 months already laid out. Because one thing you don't want to do is when you start a business, you don't want to go into it knowing you got all these 40 people hired, but you don't know if you're going to make that 40 people hired salary for that month. So
Mhm.
typically, like for me, I know this for a fact because as an entrepreneur, when I used to get contracts and stuff, the first thing they would say is, do you have 3 to 6 months of salary? The reason why they would ask you that is because if the government reimbursement check or whatever was late because they didn't get their reimbursement from the government, the federal government, then if they're late 3, 4, 5, 6 months, at least you don't have to tell your employees you can't pay them. And I actually got caught in a situation like that. I had a very lucrative contract with an entity and they didn't pay us for 3 months. And the reason is because they had not gotten their federal reimbursement. And so for 3 months, I was sitting around going, okay, we're still taking money from our account. Yes, at some point we're going to be reimbursed, but yeah, we're losing a lot of money paying all of the employees and stuff like that. But you just have to know that when you go into business, you need 3 to 6 months of income. So yes, she had investors that were giving her 2 million, 4 million, 1 million. Yes, a lot of investors. So, and an investor doesn't give you 2 million, not thinking they're not going to raise that money back with a percentage. So that's why, this whole thing was bad. Now, listen, if she had not frauded, and when I'm going to say frauded, I'm going to say that very lightly. If those investors had not felt frauded and the employees had not felt slighted because they didn't get paid, we would have never knew about the story. Because it would have just been, an independent person owns a restaurant, it failed, so what? But because celebrities were involved, because it was in high society of New York, because it was a bad look on her as a vegan, because people for some reason think people who are vegan are smarter. They think they're maybe a step better, but it was like they showed, look, she was a bad vegan, she didn't take care of herself. And then they got busted because he ordered a Domino's pizza. Vegans is not gonna order no Domino's pizza. So it was kind of like, it was kind of like a play on y'all really are stupid type of thing. And the pizza wasn't for her, it was for him anyway. All right, somebody
go to an all natural store and you don't use nothing natural.
Exactly. And that's why I think they called it bad vegan. And let me tell you something, it's so funny because I was just looking for something on Netflix and I couldn't find anything. So then I watched, here we go again, I watched Juicy Scoop, and I'm telling you right now, Heather McDonald, I like her because she used to be on Chelsea Lately, and I loved watching Chelsea Lately. There was never a night at 10 o'clock where I didn't watch Chelsea Lately on E back in the day. And so I started watching her show because I find, her to be, she's funny, and, I like her. I already know her face and everything. So I support her Juicy Scoop podcast. And every single time this woman tells about a show she's seen, me and her, we're movie kindred spirits, because every movie that she has mentioned on her show and I go over to look at, it has not disappointed. She told me about Tinder Swindler. She told me about Inventing Anna. And I'm saying she told me like me and her talk, but I'm talking about just from me watching her show. So when she said, oh, me and my husband, we were watching this show called Bad Vegan and blah, blah, blah. And she just explained it in one sentence. And I said, oh, let me go check that out. Now, anytime she says something about a movie, I'm going to go check it out because we obviously have the same taste. Now, you and I, it's a little iffy. There's some stuff I like, and then there's some stuff I'm just like, nah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
And half of the stuff I watch, you don't like it.
Yeah.
Did you now down the road here, we're going to be talking about Bridgerton. Have you watched season 1 yet?
I watched about 4 episodes. I don't watch stuff. I don't get interested in stuff that's that far dated back.
I know, but you gotta follow the storyline, not the dated part, but the storyline of it is just so sexy.
I got to episode 4. It didn't interest me. It really didn't. People keep telling me to watch The Crown too. I saw a couple people watching it, but I don't know.
You won't like The Crown. I'll tell you why. It's the slowest burn ever. Peyton has tried to watch it now 7 times and can't finish it.
No, 7 times.
Yes, I started it and I got all the way to the episode, I think might have been last episode, where they rolled out Diana's part. And after I watched Diana's part, I said, okay, I'm done. I cannot put this many more hours into it. The story was very, very interesting, but the bad thing is it's not anything really that we didn't hear already in the tabloids. So I'm not gonna continue the series if it continues. But I always have to also prove to myself that either I like something or I don't. And here's why. Back in like maybe 2010 or something like that, I'm on an airplane with a guy and we're headed to an international spot, and I was by myself, so it was probably for a birthday or something. I don't know what country I was going to, but anyway, we sat next to each other on the thing, and I didn't turn my TV on, and he said, I'm getting ready to watch, I think it was The King's Letter or something, and I knew I wasn't gonna like it. That's what I was telling myself. And he was like, hey, I got some extra earphones that the stewardess lady gave me. You want to watch this movie with me? He was like, because he's like, we're sitting here, we could watch a movie together. He's like, I love watching movies with people. He said, it doesn't matter that we don't know each other. It's an old guy. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try it. So I ended up watching The King's Letter. I ended up loving it. And it was all about this speech that the king had given that somebody else had wrote for him that became so popular. And I ended up liking it. And at that moment, I said, you know what? From now on, I'm not going to just discount a movie. I'm just going to watch it, and I'll give it up to 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, if I can't do it, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Like this morning, I turned on Netflix and I was cleaning the kitchen and everything. And I said, okay, let me see what's on. So I saw this thing called something about some guys that I guess stole some money, or they were saying about some men of thieves or something like that. I turned it on and it was horrible. So I went ahead and gave it a thumbs down. Then I roll over and I see Mike Epps got an episode on. I say, oh, I can watch something funny because while I'm doing what I need to do to pack, I can watch Mike Epps. So I'm gonna give you 15 minutes. I used to only give you 3. But I'm going to give you 15 minutes to see if I like you or not. Because for me, what's your biggest thing when you watch a series? Like, do you have to like the storyline, the ambiance of it, like, what's your,
I think something scandalous needs to happen within 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. So
something needs to happen within 3 to 5 minutes, or I'm not just gonna like people tell me you should watch Stranger Things. Maybe skip to episode. I'm not skipping to episode 4. Like I need to, and now I'm gonna have to watch all the way through. I don't like slow stuff.
You know what? The same thing happened with me with Stranger Things. I kept watching episode 1 for over 4 times. And then one day my mind was calm. I didn't have anything in the background to do. And I sat and I watched it, Angie, and they got me. And the reason they got me is because it was supernatural stuff happening. And that was interesting to me. So I had to find where I fit in to be able to watch Stranger Things and it wasn't because everybody else was saying it was good. It was because I felt like maybe there's something, but because it went to the supernatural part, it went to the underground part, it went to the aliens and the demons, that caught my attention. Because I was like, okay, those little kids, I wasn't that excited about them because I know, but then I saw Winona Ryder and I was like, I like her. And that's the only way, because I watched episode 1 4 times. Like Peyton, she tried to watch The Crown 7 times. I have seen her try to watch it 7 times and she just can't get it. But for me, if you want to reel me in, I gotta like the characters. If I don't like the characters, I just don't. Like yesterday, I'm watching Dish Nation and they had this particular person on there from one of these housewives shows. I couldn't even watch my show Dish Nation because I didn't like her so much. I was like, oh my gosh, she's the fakest thing I've ever seen. Who is this person? Like, who is this girl? And I was like, I don't like her on here. Couldn't watch it. All right, Bad Vegan. Listen, I know today is only April 3rd, but we have some good stuff coming for this month on our Sunday and our Wednesday show. We have some exciting topics. And if you haven't seen these movies, I will say give them at least the 15 minutes to see if you like it. I like following people's lives and stories. Like this chick right here. If this movie had not been on Netflix back in the day, I probably would have read about this because this has to do with business. This has to do with love. This has to do with mind games. This has to do with otherworldly thoughts. I mean, this was great. Like some of the stuff that he was telling her was pulled right from a Marvel comic. Like he was telling her stuff like, if you do this, then your dog is going to live forever. And because he knew she loved her dog so much, she would do certain things. He would say, okay, I need you to send me $60,000. And if I can trust you and you do what I tell you to do, then we're going to live forever and your dog will never die. See, what he did was he tapped into
what she loved.
He tapped into her fears. Once somebody, see, when I became a public speaker, and I went through certain trainings and stuff with people, they would say things like tap into people's fears and all that. And I hated it because I felt like it was a trick. Because why would I want to make you fearful enough to spend money with me, but then you don't learn anything from me because you only did it under fear? That's not fair, right? So what he did is he tapped into her insecurities and her fear. And she felt like, oh my God, he's the only one I can trust. And oh my God, he's going to make sure my dog lives forever. I love my dog. It's just like
people just have to separate
It's like somebody telling you, but it's like somebody telling you, if you tap your heel 3 times and say, Alibaba, your child is going to live forever. And you're in the back of your mind, if you're insecure, the first thing you'll say is, if I don't do it and my child dies, it's my fault. But if I do it and then my child lives, then I believe in something higher. So that's how that's what I'm saying. Like once you get into it and you start seeing the mind tricks, that's where you start going off on and you start thinking like, this is crazy. So that's what was interesting to me, is that he would talk to her in a galactic way. And what I mean by galactic is he would make her think there was other worlds that he and her could travel to. It was a mind F, you know how people say mind F. That's what it was. All right. So the first warning was she found him online because she and Alec Baldwin were friends, and Alec Baldwin used to come to her restaurant. She said he used to flirt with her and she wasn't paying attention because she wasn't interested in dating. And that's where Alec ended up meeting his wife that he's currently married to now, which name is Hilaria. They're having their 7th baby, by the way. They just announced it the other day. Well, listen, she was following Alec Baldwin on either Instagram, Twitter. See, that's why I don't fool with Twitter. Following him on Twitter, and she saw that he and Alec Baldwin were communicating. You know how when you go on Twitter and you can see who puts comments and then who comments back? Well, she noticed that he would comment and then Alec would comment back, right? So she, in her mind, thought, oh, well, they must be friends. And if he's friends with Alec Baldwin, the actor, then we can be cool because he kind of can vet him, right?
Yeah.
So she starts talking to him. The first warning was when he came to see her, he didn't look nothing like his profile picture. You know, me and you talked about that when we talked about online dating, remember?
Yeah.
He came to her, he didn't look nothing like his picture. On his picture profile, he was all slim, trim, and good looking. When he came to her, he was kind of fat and sloppy. Okay, that's warning number one. If you're talking to somebody virtually and they are not what they appear to be in person when you finally see them, then you know they're just sitting behind the keyboard wanting to give you whatever they think you want. And then by the time they get you reeled in with all of that sweet talking on the phone, they know that you're probably not going to change it because now you like them, right?
Oh no, see me, that happened. That something. Well, it wasn't really about how they looked; it was how they acted. It was totally different, and I was like, yeah, the same for me. I mean,
That's
yeah,
what I'm
but
saying.
I'm
But
also.
you
I
know,
had to stop
most,
talking to this dude now because he reminds me too much of Savon. I'm talking about body type, everything. It was just weird. I
oh
can't do
my
it.
God, you don't want to date your brother.
That's what I was telling Emerald. I'm gonna have to tell him. We're not even together, but I feel like I gotta break up with him because he literally looks like Savon. Literally.
I can understand. I never forget. I had this guy trying to talk to me one time, and his name was Fred. I said, "Oh no, I'm not gonna be calling Fred.
Yeah.
Now
And
I'm not gonna be talking to nobody who name is the same as my oldest brother. Now I'm kind of funny like that too, but that was the first warning for me, is that you look all nice and sleek and trim, and you're all funny and awesome, and all these jokes you tell, everybody's laughing at him. You got 40 million people. Well, he had like 40,000 people following him. You know, he was really into all kind of stuff that people admired him about. I guess she didn't think about it that he could buy, you know, you can buy followers. I guess she didn't think about what if it's you see, I go through all the, I go through everything. I go through your whole profile and see which ones are fake and which ones are real, because you can tell. So that was the first warning. Okay. Warning number 2. When he came to town, he didn't have no place to stay. So she let this stranger stay with her instead of him saying, I'm just came to see you. I'm going to get my own hotel and we'll just, talk back and forth. When she asked him where he worked, what he did for a living, he could not answer the question. So that's warning number 2. You see this super successful person, and then when you sit down and have an adult conversation with them, they can't explain their job. You know why they can't? Because they like Tommy on Martin. They ain't got no job. Remember Tommy on Martin? He could never explain his job. He would just always say my job, my job, but he couldn't. This guy here couldn't even explain to her how he made his living, but he's supposed to be so rich. He's supposed to be richer than her. Keep that in mind, because you're going to remember that by the time we get down here. Remember, he's supposed to be so rich, right? Number 3 warning. Every time this man promised her something, it never materialized. If he said we're going to do this, they didn't do it. If he said we're going to go here, they didn't do it unless she paid. If he said do this, do that, nothing this man ever did materialize. And I'm going to tell you the first thing that never materialized. After they were dating for a little while, you know how, I don't know if you know this or not, but like in most of the high ranking stores, if you want to buy a diamond ring, you can shut the whole store down and just me and you can be in the store and you can pick your ring. They'll serve you wine and cheese and everything. They'll wine and dine you. They know you're finna buy $1 million ring, right? This man had the second floor of Tiffany shut down under her name. You know, he was using her name all over town to get things done. You know, it kind of reminds me of one time I was watching a Steve Harvey talk show that he had on TV, and his son, well, his stepson had bought him some expensive shoes. I don't know if they were red bottoms or whatever they were. And he said, man, where you get this money from? And he said, I just went into the store and I told him to put it on the account. He said, so for Father's Day, let me get this right. You went into the store and under my credit card, you bought me some shoes with my money for Father's Day. Steve Harvey took the shoe and hit him in the chest.
I would too, because I would too. I didn't been with somebody that took my card to go get something that I wanted for my birthday, and I'm just like, that's how you think it's supposed to go? Absolutely
I don't
not.
even understand.
I don't either. That
I just don't.
defeats the purpose.
Like,
If I wanted to get it with my money, I would have.
no, here's what they tell you when they try to mess up your mind. Well, it was the thought that count.
Nah,
I ain't
even thinking about that.
Like that happened to me. I ain't never. Okay, so again, back to this trick right here, because this is a trick. He went in and used her name because everybody knew her. You know, she was the famous vegan restaurant lady. He went in, Tiffany used her name and said, hey, we're going to shut the store down. Floor number 2. Girl, they had the wine and cheese and everything. That beautiful room at Tiffany. Had her trying on $1 million rings, right? So she found one that was $850,000. He said, that's the one we gonna get, girl. That's it. That's what you gonna get.
With her money.
No, they left the store without the ring. He say, I got to get my money together and I got to order this money. And once this money come in, I'm going to pay for this ring. So he put the ring on hold. You know, back in the day, we call that on layaway. Only thing is he didn't put no deposit on the layaway. All right. Angie, she never got the ring and they're still dating. He didn't even ask her to marry him. He just see, this is what he did. And this is the mind part that I'm talking about. He made her think there was bigger and better in store for them. Now, she admitted that she was in debt and needed to pay off the restaurant so she didn't lose it. And because he told her he had all these billions of dollars, she thought, well, he don't have to give me the money. If I marry him, I'm entitled to the money. So she kind of messed herself up too, trying to pay off her debts with his money, just to realize
he ain't got no money.
No money. Exactly.
Girl,
so that was number 4. The ring that he took her to get, wined and dined on her name, he never got her the ring. See, let me tell you something about me and a man. You're not finna tell me you finna do something for me and you don't do it. Because the first time you don't do something that you tell me you're gonna do, see,
definitely will be the last.
No, it's just that now I got you on my radar. Now I'm finna start racking up the points and eventually you're gonna point yourself on out of here. Because if you can't do it, I still need you to explain to me why you couldn't do it. You're not finna just get away with a silent, okay? Great. So then the next thing was the thing for me that I think took my blood pressure from regular to over the top. He said, we're gonna buy a house together. So he get all these realtors together and they start looking at $500,000, $2 million, $4 million penthouses, right? What you think he told a real estate lady when they got ready to sign the papers?
Put her name on it.
Nope. Let me get my money right. Now, didn't he just say that with the ring? I gotta order my money. Why
are you going through all of that if you still got to get your money right? Don't even take them steps until you got it right. Well, how long she waited?
The excuse would be, well, we don't know how much investment we're going to do in a home. And I guess after he saw that she didn't put her money up, see, she couldn't because she didn't have none. She was in debt. She was in millions of dollars of debt behind the restaurant. So she couldn't put her name on it because she didn't have the money either. She thought, my man is rich. Now, how do we go from you didn't keep your promises. You took me to the Tiffany store. You didn't get the ring. Now we're out looking at houses and you still got to get your money. Well, did your money never get right from you buying me my ring?
Oh,
Never got her the house. So again, here we go with not keeping your promises, right?
true.
Number 6. He coming back and forth. Now she flying him back and forth to see her. Eventually, he just moves on into her house with her and her dog, who he's going to make live forever. Angie, the money never came. He never paid a light bill, a gas bill, a water bill, a grocery bill. I'm going to get you some new sheets for the bed bill. From what we saw, nothing. The money never came. You know what happened next when the money never came to him, right?
What?
He started asking her for money. All of a sudden now he needs to leave and go out of town for work. He's special ops now. He needs to go out of town and go to work. And while he's at work fighting for our country and fighting for her dog to live forever and fighting for her to have the rights that she has, because he tried to act like he was a part of the CIA, FBI, special ops behind the scene, blah, blah, blah. But when I tell you this next thing, you finna go crazy because you called me and you was crazy about this on Inventing Anna. But listen, he told her to send him, I'm gonna just tell you this number because it was so many numbers. When it added up, he got over $7 million from. But anyway, let's just say he asked her for 20. Let's say he asked her for $20,000, and he was like, "Send this to me, and when I get back, I'll reimburse you." Remember, the money didn't come for the Tiffany ring. The money didn't come for the house. The money didn't come for you to have your own place because you want to be here with me, right?
Yeah.
Then he went to a restaurant and started trying to boss around her employees and stuff. And they're just like, "We don't know you. You don't own this place." He started acting like he owned the place. And to make her feel insecure, he sent her to France and told her he was, or Paris or something, told her he was going to meet her there. He sent her by herself and told her to stay over there because she needed to learn a lesson. While he was back there actually trying to run her restaurant, he tried to sign papers and sign everything to himself. So Angie, he didn't ask her for money once and didn't give it back. He didn't ask her for money twice, 3, 4, 5 times and didn't give it back. He asked her for money over 12 times and never gave the money back. Now, keep in mind, she's still in love with this man. She's still whining and that. I can't give you love and you're abusing me emotionally, mentally, physically, any kind of way.
And a lot of women can't even really love a man if they providing for him.
I know I can't even get excited about you if you're not going to be the man in the relationship. Like, that's a turn off to me to think that you think we're
And there be
equal.
dudes out here expecting the same outcome if they're not even doing nothing on their end.
Well, I think what happened is when women became more successful and they started working outside of the home and they started getting their degrees and making more money than their man, I think that's when things got twisted and some women started thinking they were equal to men. I know for a fact I'm not equal to a man in any kind of way, and I don't want to be. I want a man to be a man and I want to be a woman. So I'm not sure where all of that got confused for other people, but I'm very clear on it. Anyway, that's number 7. After he started asking her for money, he never paid her back. Now she started getting a little upset, like, because she realized she's further and further in debt because she started bringing more investors in, but she started getting more and more in debt with him. So she's like, "When are you giving me my money back?" And you know what he would say?
What?
"Oh, so you just worried about the money." At what point did you ever become worried about the money? It's all about money for you. When I'm trying to teach you a lesson here. The money is just sitting over. He tried to make her seem like he was stacking up the money, which I'm going to be honest with you. By the time I was done with the show, I do feel like he has stacked up the money somewhere and that this is for him to be a quadrillionaire. And I don't think he's ever going to tell her where the money is because I feel like the money is overseas. So I feel like all those millions she gave him, I do feel like he has saved the money. He spent a lot of it on opulent things, but I feel like he has saved the money. Okay, so then number 8, he started having a whole lot of disappearing acts. Like he would disappear and he would be gone for 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and he would be spending them. And every time he was gone, she was sending him money and funding, I guess, all of his opulent trips, and probably had a whole nother wife and family. Who knows what this man had? But Angie, here's where I'm gonna get you. Remember on Inventing Anna, she had her banker person
Mm-hmm.
on the phone, but come to find out it was Anna.
Yeah. He did the same
He did
thing.
he did the same thing. He told her he had an assistant that knew all of his everywhere he was. He had somebody to manage his money, manage his life, and that anytime she needed anything to call the assistant. So she was talking back and forth to this assistant that was like, yeah, he's doing this, he's out fighting for the country. It was him all alone.
Wow. It was just 3 episodes?
Just 3 episodes, but each episode was like an hour or two. All right, we're almost done. Number 9. I can't even explain to you the verbiage confusion that he was doing with her mind because he was talking in galactic verbiage. He was saying things like, if you do all of the things that I tell you to do, we're going to be able to rule this world. If you do step number 2, your dog is going to live forever. He's never going to die. And he knew that was a weak spot for her. He would do things like, my brother and I, we're against each other. He took it right from the Marvel. Um, he took it right from the, what's the one name with the hammer?
You asking the wrong one. Thor?
Okay, Thor. He took it right from, but you know, Thor and his brother were always at odds.
I
He took
didn't
he
actually.
he took a whole series and put that in her mind. And it wasn't until after somebody said, "Oh, that sounds like that's from Marvel or Thor or whatever," and she was like, "I've never seen that, so I wouldn't know that."
Oh.
Kind of like you don't know what I'm talking about. He said things to her like, and then he got in good with her mama. And he started
What?
asking her mama ended up giving him $450,000.
What? What did she do?
He would call the mom and say, this is what's going on with Summer. She's losing her mind. I think she's going crazy. I'm trying to take care of her. Her business is this. You need to send us some money. This is when they was on the run. You need to send us some money because I need to take care of Summer. I need to do. And the mama would just send money because she couldn't even talk to her daughter because he wouldn't allow her to talk on the phone to nobody.
Oh.
So he got $450,000 from the mama. So when I say he was doing otherworldly talk, it's stuff that I can't even explain. That's why I'm saying sometimes when you see a movie or a series and you don't like it and it doesn't interest you, but everybody is kind of like trying to explain it to you, you kind of need to check it out because if this
Yeah, it's
happens,
different when someone explains it to you and then watch it. So I might just try one more time.
but what I'm
Just
trying to tell you is that you could end up in a situation where somebody is a great person or as you perceive they're a great person, but they could be talking that I call it that mumbo jumbo talk, and you can get twisted up in it because sometimes it just feels good to really be just talking to somebody and having a conversation with somebody, but you don't even realize that the stuff that they, because I'm trying to figure out at what point when she laid her head down on the bed at night did she think that her dog really was going to live forever?
people really do lose common sense when they be involved like in too deep with stuff. I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it secondhand.
But if you've lived in this world long enough, even as a child, nobody lives forever. Because by the time you 5 or 6 years old, somebody has died.
Right.
A grandma, somebody done died in your family, and your mama or daddy done took you to a funeral. So nothing is forever. How did she? That's why I'm saying I believe 50% of what she said. I went onto her Instagram page and I asked her a question because she was answering questions one day, right? And she's like, I'll answer any questions. So I was on her Instagram page and I asked her a question. I said, how is it that after the money didn't materialize for the ring, how is it that after the money didn't materialize for him to help take care of you or your restaurant or to bail you out or to buy you the home, how is it that you still believed anything that he ever had to say coming out of his mouth? She didn't respond to me. But I was curious because at the end I said, I'm just curious because I would like to never get caught up in anything like this. She didn't respond. She responded to a lot of people, but nobody after my comments. I think maybe all the ones before she was tired, because people were asking her questions like, why is it that at the end of the show, you ended up calling him in prison and y'all was laughing on the phone about what y'all did? Like, that's the part that people are really upset with her about. It's like,
Probably just as shisty and dumb as him.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Okay, So besides that other worldly talk, that was number 10. Okay, number 11. And then we only have one more. So he started taking over, trying to take over her restaurant and her employees with permission, tried to take over her money. He tried to take over not just her business, that she had with her employees, but her investors. He tried to take over her home by staying there and being there all the time without paying any bills. And nothing he said was showing up in real life. His family wasn't showing up in real life. She never met any of his people. He had photoshopped himself into a picture with a fake family. And she never met his family. Now, he done met her mama, he done met her sister, he met her father, all of her employees, the people that was coming in and out of the restaurant. He down at the bar down the street trying to make business deals with other people off of her name. He used her name all over town to try to get clout for himself. But he started trying to take over without even getting permission. So this is what I'm saying. He had her mind so messed up that she needed, and this man wouldn't even help her, but she married him. She married him without a prenup or nothing because she thought she would take his money, and all along he was planning on how he was going to take her money. The last thing that I got from Bad Vegan on Netflix was he didn't offer her no protection. He didn't offer her no provisions, and he didn't offer her no security. So other than those three things, I know there's a lot of other things that a man is supposed to offer a woman. He didn't hit the bar on any of them. Have you ever met, Angie, have you ever met anybody that had red flags and you picked up on it too late?
I wouldn't say too late because I've been there where I've noticed them and just like kept it like on the back burner. But I mean, nowadays I'll be leaving at the first red flag or stop talking to you because I don't got time.
What made you keep it on the back burner?
Probably just going after people's potential rather than who they really are. But of course, you live and you learn.
Yep, that's true. Because the
But that's what
only
I'm saying. At the end of the show, did she ever seem like she learned her lesson? No.
for her, it wasn't about a lesson. For her, it was about she was a victim. For her, it was about he had her mind so twisted up she couldn't think straight for herself. And because
Oh
he
my
brainwashed her. And
god.
listen, he did brainwash her, but she had family that she could have gone to. He didn't have no family he could materialize. Now they went and dug up his ex woman who he has a baby with, that he never told nobody he was married previously. He never said he had a child. They went to Florida and found his ex-woman, and she talked about all the horrible things that he did to her and how he left her high and dry with the baby. And then it all made sense. I believe he has a mental issue.
It's almost
Because
like you gotta get a reference. You gotta get some references before you date somebody these days.
I
A
mean,
couple references to call or email because at this point,
I
I think this is
mean,
the year of people being exposed because like we didn't see well even a little bit of last year, but Tinder swindler, the stuff like this, inventing Anna, like
you know how when you buy a car, they have a Carfax where you can see the
yeah,
history of it.
exactly.
That's
Yep.
what you need that's what you need when you start dating. You need dating facts. You need to be able to get some references on there. You need to see how many miles been on it.
Mhm.
You need all of these things nowadays. Um, I know for me, the only time I've ever ignored something is because I saw the better part of it. But then by the time I'm warning you that this is not going to work, if this is
Mhm.
the way you're going to continue, then I start to make my way out of the situation. And it may not be very, very quickly, but it is going to be very strategic.
Right.
I didn't see on this show at any point where she was trying to ever get away from him.
Wow.
There was never a point where she talked bad about him to say like, girl, this dude up in my house and he ain't even paying
So
no
what's
bills.
going on
Like
with him now? Where he at now? How did it?
he's in prison. She
Oh,
went to jail for a little while. She had a trial and she got out.
for what?
He went to prison and he's still in prison, but she still talks to him on the phone.
What did she go for? It was that
She
2 million scam thing they said.
It wasn't just $2 million. She had investors tied up. You know, investors don't just give you money because they like you. Investors give you money because they want a return on investment.
And she wasn't giving it back.
They stole all the money and they went on the run.
Oh, so they both went to jail for the same thing. He's just in there longer.
Well, because she blamed everything on him, that he was the swindler
Oh,
and
I see.
all of that stuff.
How much
But
time he got?
I think to the tune of almost $20 million when they
Ooh.
went on. See, when she went on the run with him, she didn't even tell her employees. They were back there running the restaurant for her.
Mm,
After they didn't have no money and the employees weren't getting paid, the restaurant ended up getting shut down. Well, you still owe money and rent on those buildings. So we're talking New York City, you racking up money. Now, if I'm an investor and I gave you $2 million and I'm thinking I'm getting 3 million back, but now I'm not getting anything, yes, I'm gonna sue you. We
mm.
signed papers. This is not no, I'm gonna let you have this money because you cute. No, this is money that I'm expecting to make money off of. So because she was around so many celebrities and so many people knew about her restaurant and it was the hottest thing going, that put the radar on her. And when the radar got on her, they had to then look into this man that she met, on Twitter, and
Mhm.
how he played a part of it. I do feel like, here's the 50% of where I believe anything she said. I do feel like the man should have went to jail, because prior to that, she wasn't dating anybody and didn't have any issues with her restaurant. She was doing the best she could, just like any other entrepreneur. You just do the best you can and you wake up every day and do the best you can. And it was
Yeah.
like when he came into her life, then all the shenanigans ensued. All of the money started disappearing, all of the transfers, and the way she did the money is she was take the money from the restaurant account, put it in her account, and then she would transfer it over to him. So that's also called wire fraud,
Hmm.
even though it's your money. But you got to think about it. When a strange set of eyes looks back on it, they're going to just look at it like, oh, so you stole the money and then you gave it to him to steal. So that's the way it looks from somebody from the outside looking in, because they don't know. And so
Yeah.
that's where the theft part from her restaurant really comes in. But those are the warnings right there that I'm saying. And I'm going to go over them just one more time. If you meet somebody online and when you see them in person, they're nothing what they purported to be, that's a warning. If somebody is saying they're just as successful as you or more successful, but they can't explain or introduce you to their work people or whatever, or show
Nothing
you
to
how
show
they
for
do
it.
their
Yeah.
job, nothing to show for it, that's a warning. If everything this person promises you never materializes and they still can look you straight in your face, that's a warning. If somebody telling you they finna buy you a ring, but they ain't ask you to marry them, but they finna buy you a ring because y'all gonna be together forever, and they go and you looking at rings, see, this is what I'm trying to say. You need to understand, if I really want to buy you a ring where they cost $800 or $800,000, I'll go to Walmart and get you a ring if I want you to really have one. He didn't even do that. The
It takes
next
about
thing,
$16.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Because I'm gonna tell you, I know people that have bought wedding rings at Costco, Sam's, at Walmart,
Yeah, you can get a better
and
one later. It don't really. I mean, if it really come down
exactly.
to
A
it,
ring
you
is a
could
ring.
have.
It's
Yeah.
but the fact that you didn't do anything, that's a
Anything.
warning.
Yeah.
You go and taking me looking at houses and everything. And first of all, she didn't think about the business end of the business, because when you go look at a $4 million penthouse, you need to already be pre-approved.
Hmm.
If you can't show me the pre-approval letter, then we ain't looking at no houses. What we looking for, unless we going to get ideas to fix up the one we got. The next one is, if somebody keeps asking you for money, and I'm just talking about the first time, and you ain't getting no second, third, fourth. I'm talking about the first time you ask me for $5, and you tell me you giving it back to me on Friday, and Friday get here and you either ducking and dodging me or you don't have my $5, you will never get another $5 from me. So she was giving out hundreds of thousands. So that's another thing. If
The
somebody
scammers
asks
be
you for
knowing
money,
who to go after too. That'd be
oh
the thing.
man, it's like they can smell it on them.
Hmm.
So if somebody asks you for money and they tell you they're gonna give it back to you and return it to you, and they never return it back to you, but then they start keep asking you for money, that's a red flag. That's a red flag. them disappearing acts. I still remember the movie I saw with Sanaa Lathan and Wesley Snipes called Disappearing Acts. Did you ever see that back in the day?
I don't recall. I don't
It's
remember.
a movie with Wesley Snipes and Sanaa Lathan called Disappearing Acts, and she falls for this guy, which is Wesley Snipes, and he, come around and he disappears. She got pregnant. He come around disappear. It was just so frustrating to know that you find these people that are just so wonderful and they're great to talk to, and they seem to be amazing, but they are not consistent in your life. But then they think they can disappear for 5 days and then come back and it's still baby honey sugar. No, I'm not even opening my door for you. The next thing was the verbiage confusion. When he started doing all that otherworldly talk, I really sat up in the bed and started watching because I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my, she really believes her dog's gonna live. I didn't understand. And he kept taking her through these tests. Like, I need you to buy your own flight. And I need you to go to Rome. And I need you to stay there for 2 weeks. And you need to think about your life. And once you do that, and then he would tell her, okay, you've
Nobody
passed
can
it.
even get to the point of finishing that
Listen,
sentence. Like what?
he would tell her to do a one-way ticket. And then on the day that he decided, he would call her and say, okay, you have passed the test. You can now come back home.
I can now. What am I, 3 years old?
I'm trying to tell you, it's a mind play.
Mhm.
It's a mind play that people do to you. Again, when somebody come into your life and they haven't put no footing down or shown you any good faith or anything, but they want to take over your life and your business and your friends and your employees, and they want to take over your home and everything, but they haven't earned anything to do that, that's a red flag. And then again, the number 12 was they ain't offering you no, and I'm talking to women. If you're with anybody who's not offering you any protection, no provision, no security, what they offering you? Because all of that is going to make me fall for you. Not I'm going to fall for you and hope you give me all that. So that's our show for today on Bad Vegan. Again, if you have not seen it, let me tell you, I know you're probably saying, she watched that movie and she got all of that out of there. I watch movies to learn. I watch movies to laugh. I watch movies for the suspense. I watch movies to see if I like in jail with the characters. I watch movies that are interesting, that have a storyline that makes me say, I don't just watch TV just to be watching it, because I can sit in my house all day and the TV not come on at all. Just like I do at hotels. Sometimes the TV don't have to come on at all. I'm trying to see what can I learn out of this or what I think about this. So that's how I try to look at it, so that I can pick up on those warning flags. And I have learned in my life at this point that when I see other people going through those type of things, I can't say nothing. I don't say anything to them. The reason why you can't say anything to people who are going through these things, because they're doing just what Sarma did. They're going to delete you out of their space so that they can get more in the other person's space, because they trust them more than they're going to trust you, because that's who they want to trust. That's why I say I believe 50% of what she said, because this woman was smart. This woman came from money. This woman had a mother, a father, and a sister trying to give her information to help her. This woman had a dog that she loved that was very intuitive. This woman understood the assignment but chose not to participate. But then you want to pretend like you're a victim, because if you go to her Instagram page and you go through it, she's acting like she's mad that this documentary came out. She's mad that, Angie, now you 28 years old, right?
You tell me. Yeah, this way, yeah.
Just say yes or no. Are you
Yeah.
aware that when you talk to a jailbird that the calls are recorded?
First of all, who said I'd be talking to people in jail?
No, I'm asking, are
No,
you
I'm
aware that
always
when people
mindful. Yeah, of course.
okay, this woman got on the phone with this man and was talking crazy, which makes people think that she was in on it, because we heard the jail calls.
Oh, they put them in the show.
They put them in the document. We heard it.
Lord.
This is
What was being said?
after. This is after they got busted. So what the jailhouse call says to me is that if he got out today or tomorrow, she'll take him back.
Of course.
I'm confused. That's why I don't believe. That's why I believe 50% of what she's saying. And that 50% is that, yes, he manipulated her mind. I believe it. Yes, in the beginning, she thought that he had money. So she thought she could use his money for her restaurant and to get out of debt. I believe that. That's about all I believe. That's her 50% I'm going to give her.
Did they ever say how much time he's getting or got?
They did, but I don't remember because I really wasn't focused on him because I saw his game from the minute. From the minute that I'm going to tell you, this is when my red flag went up because I liked the way the show came on. They talked about she was all on all these magazines and, all of the Good Morning America. Everybody knew about her and the restaurant guy that she started out with. They were like a power couple chef thing. They broke up and I was like, oh man, they broke up, but she still was successful. I'm rooting for her the first 20 minutes. I'm rooting for her. I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have known about the bad vegan restaurant back in the day because I've been to New York. Man, this is interesting. When she got on Twitter and met a man who showed up and was nothing like his profile purported to be or who I spoke to on the phone, oh no, I was done. I was done before it got started because she was attracted to what he looked like too. And when he got there, he was sloppy fat.
Like when she finally saw him?
Yeah, when he showed up at her restaurant, he's in town. He flew in to see her. He was nothing that he said he was. So what I say is if you're online and I'm liking what I'm seeing because I'm visual, I haven't met you yet, but I'm liking your profile picture and everything. It's just like a dude saying that they're 6'5", and then when they come to meet you, they 5'2".
Had somebody tell me he was 5'11", and I know for sure he's at least 5'8", 5'9". You got to look at the knee and ankle ratio and the knee to hip ratio. If you ain't got a long torso or long arms, there's no way you're that tall. So go ahead.
My point is if you'll try to trick me to get me interested in you online, and then once you get me all involved, when I see you, I'm gonna just kind of skip over that. See, from the beginning of any relationship, when you start skipping over things that are an issue for you, that's when you go for your downfall. Because if I say, oh, well, he's just rude because he's having a bad day, he's really a nice guy. Because every time I talk to him on the phone, he's just so sweet and wonderful. But you rude to the waiter, you rude to my friends. No, the real you is coming out. So those are my warnings for women for April. I just hope that for those people who couldn't get into the show or haven't seen the show, I hope that they get into it to get the message behind it, not so much to really judge Sarma or to judge her guy. I'm just looking at the lessons, and those lessons for me were they were just really a big deal. And the reason why I say they were a big deal is because there are some women who are going through this every single day right now as we talk.
Yeah.
There's somebody online with somebody who's lying to them about cryptocurrency. You get involved in this, you're gonna make a whole bunch of money, and I'm gonna make sure I'm there to guide you. There's somebody online lying to somebody right now about, yeah, we can go to the dog park and our dogs can, become friends, and then we can become more friends. They get them with the pets and the kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's somebody online right now lying, talking about, I got to get some more fuel in the jet so I can get over there and get you because, I own my own private plane. I got a Rolls Royce. I got this, I got that, and the other. And it's so funny to me when people be talking about they own Rolls Royce and Bentleys and stuff, and then you finally see it and it's a 1987 Rolls Royce. It's like, are you kidding me? You couldn't even get a 1999 one. You got an 87 Rolls Royce. Get out of my face. So anyway, those were my warnings, and I'm so excited. You could tell I'm just excited to go through the next shows that we're going to be going through. We've got Bridgerton, we've got Tinder Swindler, we're going to even talk about woman's intuition, because that's going to be from the, what is it, the woman across the street from the woman in the window across the street from whatever, that one with that long title. I want to talk a lot about women's intuition and that, and about following your gut and stuff on that one. So you could see I take these movies very serious, and when I say serious, I don't mean like, oh my gosh, I mean I take them serious as in the lesson that can be learned from them. That's what I'm saying. Anything for your wrap up, Angie?
I'm just gonna have to watch it and just sit through it and just see how it plays out. Cause I mean, now I'm probably a little bit more interested. But we'll watch it for the fifth time.
Yeah, and if you're not interested in it, just listen to the 12 warnings I just gave you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And that right there will be good enough. Because when you called me and told me about something you called me and told me about. And when you told me about the Amazon package, whatever guy, I didn't think I'd be
Oh
interested.
yeah.
The reason that I was ending up being interested is because I had already seen that on one of these news shows where they were talking about, but they didn't go into in depth like the documentary did. It just, the part of it that I saw was that a motorcycle company that was family owned, everybody in there got shot up. That's the only part I saw. I never knew the story behind it though. So that's why when I saw it, I say, I have seen this story somewhere before. I know about this family that owned this motorcycle company, and people came in to buy products or whatever, and everybody in the place was dead. And I was like, where did I see it? I had seen it on the news years ago, but I never knew about that guy. I didn't know. So that's why I found it very interesting, because it gave me more insight into, there's more to the story than even I knew, type of thing. Back in the day, I used to watch American Greed every single night. Every single night I watch American Greed, because that other show that you told me about, that's where I saw that guy about the staircase guy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I saw his story on American Greed, because they were basically saying like he did it because, he wanted to go ahead and live a gay life, and he wanted the money, and, all of that stuff. But they never gave the background story the way they broke it down on the staircase killer thing. So that was interesting when you told me about those. I didn't think I was going to like them because they were kind of dated, and those guys weren't very attractive to look at. So I was just like, ugh. So, but I enjoyed them because it was like, I know this story. I've seen it. So anyway, that's our show for today on women and giving them warnings. And I can't wait to share the other ones with you as well. It's all going to make sense in the end, I promise you, especially when I start talking about some of the other shows. And I think our next one, make sure you are tuned in. Our Wednesday show is going to be Wednesday's date is what? So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Next Wednesday, you have that date?
The 6th.
Okay, so on the 6th. Ooh, this one you told me about, Angie.
Sure?
Next Wednesday, we're talking about sex life.
Oh, that show.
And we're going to be talking about ways that you can reignite the fire at home first before you go get your side piece. And I have a little sympathy for the lady, so you may not agree with my topics that I may talk about, but I do have a little sympathy, and I can absolutely understand why she did what she did. So that's what we're going to talk about on Wednesday. Is we're going to talk about the show Sex Life. Now, when you called me and told me about that, I was like, I don't want to see this mess, but then it was so good.
Yeah, me and Jado accidentally watched it, and we just binge watched it the whole day.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I didn't even leave until we finished the last episode.
And I liked the character on there, not just the husband and the wife and kid and everything, but I liked. Now I'm gonna tell you something. I really didn't like that kid. That kid, oh my God, he got on my nerves. And I'll talk a little bit about that guilt part of it too, because that kid got on my nerves to the point where I just I didn't like that. I didn't like her child. So anyway, that's our show for today. And again, thank you for all of our new subscribers. I see that everybody's kind of following suit over on Instagram. I go over to the Instagram page all the time, and I see that we always have 3, 4, 5 people joining per hour. And I really love that, because I've been going and joining a lot of other women and their podcasts and everything. And they're so gracious, Angie, that they've been joining us back too. And I like that because that shows me that people really want to support us just like we support people. So let them know what they need to continue to do.
Yes, definitely keep subscribing to our channel. We're about at 1,070 something, so keep it up. Keep commenting, sharing, liking. We're getting the notifications. We're even getting them on Podbean too. I see people are commenting on our podcast on Podbean. So uh,
Yeah.
getting back to
Well,
feedback is good.
yeah, well, you know what I did? I went over to Podbean and I did what I told you I was going to do is that because we're all in the same network together, I went over to Podbean and I started joining some of their podcasts over on Instagram, probably like about 50 of them. And I noticed that they all followed us back because I'm
Hmm.
like, hey, we're part of the same family. We should all be following each other. And if Podbean, I looked at it like this, if Podbean has 1,000 people over on Podbean, then if we have 1,000 people that join us over on Instagram or over on YouTube, and I'm not even finished. I only did like 50 or 60, and I still didn't get through the whole list because what I did is I pulled up all of our associates over on Podbean where we are, and I just went to Instagram and just started following all their podcasts, and they start following us back. So that's what I did because I feel like we're all part of the same network. We should be supporting one another because support is very important. So that's
True.
what I've been kind of doing as far as the marketing part of it, and continuing to do pop culture cosmos with Gerald and different interviews and things like that. And I think we have an interview coming up this week with Steve from the UK, right? On the 10th or something like that.
I'll have to check. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because I told you to put it on your calendar the last time. But anyway, yeah, so that's our show for today. And again, I hope you get a chance to go over to Netflix and check out Bad Vegan. And that's our show for today. And bye for now.
Bye.